Non-Disclosure Network, where today we're exploring the fascinating theory of alien involvement in building the pyramids of Egypt. For centuries, historians and archaeologists have been baffled by the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. One of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, has stood for millennia. Its construction remains one of history's greatest enigmas. How did the ancient Egyptians, with their primitive tools, manage to build such architectural wonders? Did ancient aliens really help to shape our history? And if so, might there be an extraterrestrial connection behind the secrets? From the ziggurats of ancient Babylon to the temples of the Kush kingdom, pyramids dating as far back as 3000 BC exist throughout the world. Pyramids come in many different shapes and sizes. A pyramid is pretty straightforward. Typically, you have a square base and you have 4 sides that are each a triangle and meet at the top. If you want to make anything that's going to be tall, the first thing you would always build would be some type of pyramid, because it's the most stable structure you can imagine making. We have 250 pyramids in central Chinese province of Shaanxi. We have dozens of pyramids in the middle of Indian Ocean, on the island of Mauritius, Canary Island, Northern Sudan, Egypt, of course, 155 of them, but also 300 pyramids in Peru, pyramids in Bolivia, and of course, over 10,000 pyramids in Central America. They are worldwide phenomena. How is it possible that civilizations spread out over 5 continents all built similar pyramidal structures? It's as if all these ancient builders went to the same school. So it really does seem like the same group of people or beings were building these pyramids. We see a lot of similarities in terms of composition and cultures far back in time between Peru and Egypt and the Olmecs of southern Mexico. Here in the desert just outside Cairo stands the Great Pyramid of Khufu. 4,500 years ago, it was the tallest and most impressive man-made structure on Earth. But exactly how and why the pyramid was constructed remains a mystery. The Great Pyramid is the most wondrous place on Earth. And when you're standing in front of it, you're confronted with the greatest mystery of all time. Who built this place? How could it have been constructed? Why is it still standing? And then when you go inside it, you have the feeling like you are in the hands of an extraordinary intelligence. We've got a structure that's 480 feet high. It covers 13 acres. There's 2.5 million blocks of stone. The heaviest stones weigh 70 tons. They quarter thousands of tons of granite 500 miles away. It's an amazing structure. In Montevecchia, Milan, Italy, the pyramids at that location seem to show a very clear resemblance to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau. But without any type of transoceanic contact, how is it possible that all these ancient cultures had a similar building style? The Kandasuku Temple in Indonesia has several identical design elements as the pyramids at Chichen Itza. Another Hindu temple in Cambodia mysteriously resembles a Maya temple at Tikal. A possible explanation for all of this is that all of these cultures learned how to build these pyramids from the same teachers. It seems to be way back in prehistory, this whole thing where everyone was building pyramids, and it seems like it came from a much earlier culture and it resonated all around the world. But that really is one of the big mysteries of the pyramids themselves, is that they seem to be everywhere, and they seem to have similar design. They have similar geometry. They even have the same measurement systems often. A timeless wonder of the ancient world, erect and unyielding for over 4,000 years. Its creation, still one of mankind's most enduring mysteries. Some theorists suggest a more otherworldly explanation. They believe most pyramids were constructed by builders who possessed the same advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and the Earth's geophysical properties. Perhaps more proof can be found by looking at pyramids, not from the ground, but from above. Egypt. 1940. While flying above the Giza Plateau, a British Air Force pilot photographs one of the most amazing features of the Great Pyramid. The structure actually has 8 sides instead of 4. This baffling phenomenon is only detectable from the air at dawn and sunset on the spring and autumn equinoxes, when the sun casts shadows on the pyramid that reveal the 8-sided, slightly concaved construction. This is a light show whereby the ancestors who built this knew that something visually spectacular would be seen on these important calendar days. We realize that whoever built it was aware of the solar cycle. If you take the location of the Great Pyramid as a coordinate, this number sequence of this coordinate matches exactly the speed of light traveling through space, measured in meters per second. This is amazing stuff. When you consider the vast amount of information about the Earth that's encoded into the Great Pyramid, you can't just dismiss all of this as pure coincidence. Close. It's perfect is that if you actually take the length for the Great Pyramid at its mean socket level, which is the corners of the actual building, it translates into 365.24 pyramid cubits, which just happens to be the Earth a year, right down to a quarter day. The measurements of the length and width of the perimeter of the Great Pyramid correspond to an exact fraction of both the latitude and longitude measurements at the equator. Scaled up, this means the Great Pyramid directly corresponds to the circumference of the equator, as well as the measurement from the equator to the pole, making it a scale model of the Northern Hemisphere. The precise alignment of the pyramids with Orion's belt and the intricate internal chambers suggests knowledge far beyond that of ancient humans. We've got a structure that's 408 feet high. It covers 13 acres. There's 2.5 million blocks of stone. The heaviest stones weigh 70 tons. They moved thousands of tons of granite 500 miles away. It's an amazing structure. The most intriguing thing is the scale of the project. Why go 146 meters high to build a tomb? Why use 2.5 million blocks of stones with a mass of 6 million tons? Archaeologists theorize that the Great Pyramid was built sometime around 2500 BC as the burial tomb of the pharaoh Khufu. But this claim has yet to be proven, and the debate among various researchers over for who or for what purpose the structure was built continues. We're told that the Great Pyramid was a tomb for the pharaoh, but there's never been a body found inside the Great Pyramid. We have found pyramids in the 1950s by respected Egyptologists, whereby the tomb was sealed, whereby the sarcophagus was intact, and inside there was no body, there was no corpse, there wasn't even a coffin. And so this notion that we really think that grave robbers somehow were responsible for everything can no longer be maintained. So it's a whole controversy. Nobody knows why our ancestors constructed pyramids, but if the pyramids at Giza were not intended to house the remains of dead pharaohs, then why were these towering monuments built? Could there be a connection between the Pyramid of Khufu and other pyramids around the world? One that has been lost to time? Or is it possible that the builders of these engineering marvels had an otherworldly inspiration? The famous god Thoth is known as the architect of the universe, and it was he who allegedly designed the entire pyramid complex at Giza. Imhotep, the person who was responsible for the first pyramid, actually said that he received this information from the god, and from there began the pyramid building process. The fact that different cultures throughout this planet would have similar structures, I think, is mind-boggling. What made mankind decide, let's do these pyramid-shaped objects? Unless they were told, unless they were given blueprints, the structures are just unbelievably perfect. You have to come up with a conclusion that it's very possible that extraterrestrials saw this civilization, gave them knowledge, and took off. And we also know that the person who built it had extraordinary understanding of mathematics. The Great Pyramid is aligned to within 3/60ths of a degree of north, a more accurate alignment than any other structure on Earth. When you look at the Great Pyramid's alignment, it's aligned very, very close to true north. Even more interesting is to think about tracking back in time, because the Earth's axis has been shifting slowly. It's what we call processes. And so, if there's been a shift in that alignment, it could be that it was even more accurately aligned to north in the past when they built it. The Great Pyramid is not only perfectly aligned to the cardinal points, its placement on the Earth is seemingly intentional as well. All of these things make it clear that, of all pyramids, the Great Pyramid really is in a league of its own. Why is the Great Pyramid's true shape only visible from above at the equinox? And how did ancient man create such an intricate design that is exposed just twice a year and can only be seen from the sky? Theorists believe clues can be found by examining the unique geographical and architectural characteristics of the towering structure. According to scholars, the Great Pyramid was built on what is considered to be the center of all the land masses of Earth. The massive structure is almost perfectly aligned to magnetic north. Inside the pyramid, the designers added small shafts aligned towards two specific constellations, Orion and Sirius. The four shafts are not only aligned perfectly on a north-south axis, but one shaft also points directly toward Orion's belt. Mainstream scientists believe shafts like these were simply used as ventilation during construction. But might there be another reason why they align with the stars? They used to call it an air shaft of the Great Pyramid. It's now known to be a star shaft. It's known to have been oriented to the passage of Orion's belt, and it's thought to have represented the release of the soul back to its origin. There is much to suggest that this correlation is not a coincidence. We know that the ancient Egyptian pyramids builders believed that the king was going to become a star in Orion. The most extraordinary thing I think of our ancient civilizations is this. We have two beautiful pyramid complexes, one in Teotihuacan, one at Giza. Teotihuacan is created according to a specific layout. Within its design, we have a representation of our solar system. But we also know that, for example, the Temple of the Sun, the Temple of the Moon, i.e. two pyramids, and the Temple of Quetzalcoatl are in same layout as Orion's belt, which the three pyramids of the Giza Plateau have been laid out into as well. So when we look at these buildings, we find they are mapped according to the same principle and incorporating the same information. The whole concept that the three pyramids at Giza are in a special alignment of Orion's belt is very interesting. But why would the pyramid builders design their pyramids to reflect star constellations? Might the reason for specific placement of the pyramids on Earth be something that only the ancients understood? Pyramids in general tend to be very large in scale and can only be truly seen from above. So, it's quite possible that the earliest pyramids were made as beacons, as a way for those not of this world to connect with those of this world. Maybe they were moving around the Earth and using these places not just as sacred places, but in order to know where they were. Well, these pyramids are like geodetic markers, marking power spots around the planet. They really can be seen from the air. They're almost designed from above. If we were to entertain the possibility of alien intervention, what technologies could have been used? Some theorists propose advanced levitation or laser cutting techniques. The ancient Greeks thought that the geometric shape of pyramids focused cosmic energy, and that pyramids all over the world were some kind of energy collectors. Could ancient civilizations have built pyramids not just to represent a symbolic cosmic connection, but to mark a place of actual extraterrestrial contact? Some researchers suggest evidence can be found in Central America, where the Mayans built more pyramid temples than any other civilization in antiquity. In terms of pyramid builders, it's safe to say that the Maya created more pyramids than every other culture in the world combined. But the functions of buildings in classic Maya society is really one of the weakest points that archaeology has. We don't have a good idea about what pyramids were used for in different Maya cities. We have many pyramids. The biggest Maya city was Tikal. Tikal is in today's Guatemala. Could there be an actual connection between human beings and beings from other planets? Is it possible that the Egyptians and other ancient cultures were given information about the energy-producing properties of pyramids from extraterrestrial beings? And if so, what could be the true function of these structures? Theorists believe the Great Pyramid of Giza may hold the ultimate proof that the pyramids could generate enough energy to reach not just across the planet, but across the universe. Were the pyramids built by the hands of ancient Egyptians, or did they have otherworldly assistance? The debate continues. We invite you to form your own opinions and share your thoughts in the comments.